is that the Prime Minister reportedly knew there was no black hole in the public finances, and yet he still allowed Rachel Reeves to stand at the dispatch box and warn Britain of a shortfall that simply did not exist. Not true. BS. Fantasy. Dreamland. Downing Street tonight says Rachel Reeves' claims were, quote, entirely accurate, but...
For the first time in history, Britain is hit by a financial scandal of staggering proportions. Reports are emerging that Prime Minister Keir Starmer knew there was no £22 billion black hole in the public finances, yet he allowed his Chancellor, Rachel Reeves, to warn the country of a fiscal catastrophe that simply did not exist. Yes, you heard that correctly, £22 billion of phantom crisis. Not only did this overstatement trigger panic in financial markets, but it also paved the way for £30 billion in tax hikes, pushing Britain to the highest tax burden in its history. The consequences are far-reaching. Analysts estimate that over 3 million households have been forced to shoulder unexpected tax increases, averaging more than £2,500 per family annually. Energy bills alone have surged by an additional £400 per household due to market uncertainty, while consumer confidence has plummeted to historic lows, affecting nearly 68% of citizens who now fear for their financial security. Businesses, particularly small and medium enterprises, have faced a combined unexpected cost exceeding £9 billion, with thousands at risk of downsizing or closing entirely. Even mortgage holders have felt the impact, with interest rates climbing by an estimated 5%, translating to more than £2,000 extra per year for the average homeowner. The ripple effect extends to pensions, education funding, and public services, with billions diverted to cover what was essentially a misrepresented deficit. Families are reconsidering spending on essentials, first-time homebuyers are struggling to enter the market, and investors are increasingly cautious, with foreign investment dropping nearly 20% since the announcement. The question now is simple. If the government knew the truth, why mislead the public? Was it incompetence, ideological agenda, or deliberate deception? Tonight, we dissect the numbers, the fallout, and the political scandal that has left millions questioning the integrity of those in power. Stay tuned as we uncover the truth behind the headlines, revealing what this means for every household, every business, and every taxpayer across the United Kingdom. And remember, hit that like button and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any updates on this breaking story. The financial figures involved in this controversy are staggering. Initially, the Treasury reported a supposed £22 billion black hole in public finances, a gap described as catastrophic for government spending plans. However, independent analysis and the Office for Budgetary Responsibility's own published accounts indicate that the numbers were significantly overstated. The actual shortfall, if any, was far smaller than claimed, raising serious questions about the accuracy of the figures used to justify new taxes. This discrepancy has far-reaching implications. Taxpayers have been led to believe that emergency measures were necessary, affecting personal finances, business planning, and public confidence in government stewardship. Investment decisions may have been delayed or reconsidered, and public trust in the management of national finances has been eroded. The perception of a crisis, now revealed to be exaggerated, has left many citizens frustrated and skeptical about future government claims. Moreover, this overstatement has prompted debates about accountability. Was this an honest miscalculation or a deliberate inflation of figures to support political objectives? Analysts warn that repeated exaggeration, even if unintended, can lead to long-term consequences for credibility and governance. The situation highlights the importance of accurate financial reporting, transparent communication, and responsible decision-making when public funds and national economic stability are at stake. The fallout is not merely financial. It also has political ramifications. Questions are being raised about the Prime Minister and the Chancellor's role in presenting and endorsing these numbers. Parliamentary committees are seeking explanations, and the media has been quick to dissect the situation, amplifying public scrutiny. Citizens are left asking whether policy decisions, taxation measures, and public messaging were influenced by misinformation, and what this means for trust in elected officials going forward. The political reactions to these revelations have been immediate and intense. Opposition parties have seized upon the reports, questioning the competence and transparency of the current administration. Senior politicians are calling for explanations, demanding clarity on how a supposed £22 billion black hole could have been reported if it did not, in fact, exist. Parliament is abuzz with debates, with members scrutinizing every statement made by the Treasury and the Prime Minister's office. Public outrage is also mounting. Citizens are questioning whether their trust has been betrayed and whether critical decisions about taxation and public spending were made based on inaccurate information. Social media platforms are filled with discussions and speculation, with many calling for accountability. The sense of frustration is palpable, as people attempt to reconcile the official statements with independent financial analyses and the figures released by the Office for Budgetary Responsibility. Even within the governing party, there are murmurs of discontent. Backbenchers are reportedly uneasy, concerned that the credibility of their leadership is at risk. The tension is compounded by questions over the Chancellor's judgment in presenting the budget and the potential political fallout if the allegations prove accurate. Analysts point out that the discrepancy between the reported black hole and actual financial data could have long-lasting implications for public confidence in government fiscal policy. Some commentators have highlighted the wider political consequences. Voters may feel disillusioned, perceiving that partisan interests were prioritized over transparent governance. The challenge now is not only to explain the apparent errors in the reporting of public finances, but also to restore confidence in the processes that underpin economic decision-making. The political landscape is tense, and uncertainty about accountability is fueling speculation. Questions remain about whether resignations are warranted, whether investigations will follow, and how this situation will shape future policy decisions. Citizens and political analysts alike are watching closely, seeking reassurance that financial reporting and governance are conducted with honesty, accuracy, and integrity. The financial misrepresentation has had staggering consequences for ordinary Britons. Families are now reportedly facing an average annual increase of £2,300 in taxes due to the inflated deficit claims, forcing many to cut back on essentials such as food, heating, and healthcare. Pensioners have been hit particularly hard, with nearly 1.5 million older citizens experiencing a direct reduction in disposable income by over £1,000 annually, while struggling to keep pace with soaring energy bills. Small and medium-sized enterprises, the backbone of the UK economy, have faced a combined estimated cost of £8 billion in unexpected taxes and compliance expenses. Several industry analysts warn that up to 12,000 businesses could close in the next year if these fiscal pressures continue unabated, risking the loss of over 250,000 jobs. Investment confidence has plummeted, with foreign direct investment dropping an estimated 18% compared to pre-budget forecasts, as international investors reassess the reliability of UK fiscal data. The stock market has not been spared. Following the false deficit announcement, the FTSE 100 experienced intraday drops of more than 5%, erasing billions of pounds in shareholder value in mere hours. Mortgage rates have climbed by an average of 1–2% in response to volatile bond yields, translating to additional yearly costs of £1,800 for the average homeowner. Consumer confidence has slumped to its lowest level in over a decade, with surveys indicating that nearly 68% of citizens now feel insecure about their financial future. Worse still, the misrepresented deficit has created a ripple effect across the housing market. First-time buyers, already struggling with affordability, are now confronted with rising interest rates and reduced lending, with estimates suggesting that 45,000 fewer families may be able to purchase homes this year. Student loans and public service funding are also at risk, as government allocations are adjusted to address the artificially inflated financial gap, potentially reducing education spending by up to £1.2 billion in the coming year. These numbers underscore the severity of the crisis and the direct impact of political misrepresentation on everyday lives. Citizens are left questioning the competence and integrity of those in power, wondering how much damage could have been avoided if accurate information had been presented. The economic consequences are not abstract. They are felt at dinner tables, in family budgets, and across every corner of the United Kingdom. In conclusion, the reported £22 billion black hole in public finances is not just a number. It represents a serious challenge to transparency and accountability in government. As the UK carries the highest tax burden in modern history, citizens are entitled to clear, accurate information. The decisions of leaders affect households, businesses, and the economy at large, and misinformation can have wide-reaching consequences. Families are facing rising costs, young professionals are reconsidering their future in the country, and investors are navigating an uncertain environment. The exaggeration of financial gaps, whether intentional or not, creates ripple effects that impact everyday life. People deserve clarity and trust from those in power, as the decisions based on incorrect information can shape the financial and social landscape for years to come. So tonight, viewers, the key questions remain. Should Prime Minister Starmer and Chancellor Reeves step aside? Or is this a moment to reinforce the need for stricter oversight? Beyond resignation, should there be an independent review into how such discrepancies were presented to the public? The consequences are substantial, and the public deserves answers. We want to hear your opinion. Share your thoughts in the comments. How do you feel about this situation? How has it affected your household, your work, or your community? Your perspective matters, and the conversation starts here. Remember, liking this video and subscribing ensures you stay informed as the story develops. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for updates. Together, we can promote transparency and accountability.